Hello, I'm Dawn in Cyprus, and today I'm answering questions that I've been asked on my channel through both my Frugal Life videos and also about relocating to Cyprus, and answering questions on how it is possible for everybody to do it. So first of all, it's about life choices. How homesteading lifestyle can be obtained to all at very little cost. And always, now, even making your smallest changes can lead to a more fulfilling lifestyle of your dream way of living. So number one, first of all, I must say, for me, a couple of people did say, well, you're just lucky. And I'd like to say that way back in my life, I worked very hard, which has enabled me to buy my low-cost land, and it does take a lot of hard work to both grow and maintain a large piece of land. I had absolutely no financial help from anyone or in any other capacity. Number two, do thorough investigation of all potential countries that you're interested in, which is what we did. At the time when Mike bought his first holiday home property, which you'll see in our videos we never used as a holiday home because we decided to live here full-time earlier rather than in his retirement, and I wanted bigger land. Mike had done many years research, and this is a book. I don't really want to give you the information on it because it's obviously very out of date, and I'll talk about that later on. But it's a book here he did research on. I will tell you the name and the author because there is a chance it's got an updated version. This is called Buying a Home in Greece and Cyprus, and it's by Joanna Stiles. So that's something you could look at. It says second edition, so there's a chance there might be updates on it, and they do different country books as well. So Mike did a lot of investigation into the cost of living here, things such as electricity bills and things like that. Not that we now have electricity, we have solar, but those kind of things and taxes are all covered within that. As I say, it's all very different now. When we came to live here, it was pre-EU, and we still had Cyprus pounds as our currency, whereas now we've got the euro. And one of the criteria for us coming to live here was we had to prove that we were financially independent of any needs in any future capacity of needing money for help or benefits from the Cypriot government. I think it was over 7,000 we had to have each in our own bank accounts because we weren't married then. And luckily for me, I'd just sold my house in England, so that wasn't a situation at all. That was a cash sale, so I had money there. But poor Mike had just bought the property in Ziggy, the holiday home, so he didn't have a lot of money floating around. So we were laughing, saying that in our interviews I was accepted, but it was fingers crossed to see what we could do about Mike. But obviously because I could cover him as well, I think that was how it happened that we were allowed in. Number three, as I've said, way back in my life, I have been quite astute as to getting money as much as I can, not by doing a mundane job, because for me I feel if you work you need to be doing what you enjoy doing. So for me, I decided I would be self-employed, which is a lot more hard work. You don't get paid for your days off or holidays as most people do, but I had no limit on the hours I could work. And one of my main job was I ran a big stage school, but in those days you didn't really do morning classes or not enough to make good money. So I actually qualified to be an educator, child educator, and I also did courses on psychology, and other such things, and I became a supply worker. But I didn't work through an agency, I worked through the different areas that I wanted to work. So I would go to different regions and go to the councils, if you like, of those areas and put myself forward as a supply worker. So I actually got the full amount of money that I would get for working and that an agency would get. So I was my own agent through the local councils and local boroughs. So I made a lot of money there, and with that I could choose my hours. So I could still run my dance schools and all my classes and my staff, but I could work my free hours in agency. So if you like, I was working 2 full-time jobs, because the dance school was a full-time business, obviously working weekends and late into the night, and the schools, hospitals and so forth that I worked in, I could choose the hours, and I often was starting work by 6 o'clock in the morning on different shifts. So by doing all this, when I was the age of purchasing my first home, all my friends were buying brand new luxury flats, all modernised and beautiful, but I bought a home that was an old Victorian property, and it hadn't been modernised since it was built, so there was a lot of work to do there. But obviously I got that very cheap. It was classed as unlivable because there was an old tin bath in the kitchen. There was a fully working toilet with that old high chain flush, so that was something. But nobody wanted to buy it because nobody wanted to put the time in to make it into something beautiful. And yes, even with all the work I had to do, it was cheaper than getting into a deep mortgage and having one of these new high cost properties. So whereas I moved on from there to a second bigger property that needed work doing, the second property was Edwardian, so again it needed lots of work doing, and it had damp and different problems, but again I built that up from nothing. And while I was doing that, my friends who had bought the luxury flats and so forth and new builds were actually struggling to work longer hours to try and pay off their heavy mortgages, most of which was because they had earned more money to get these properties. And I was moving on to a great big 3 double bedroom house with a huge loft that could easily be made into 2 more bedrooms and en suites, which I didn't actually do that part, but it was there for the taking. So when I sold on to buy this property in Cyprus, you can see there was no problem there. And let me just say, this property here in Cyprus is a very low cost, and I'll go into the price of that another time. So number 4, when I moved out here, I sold just about everything I owned. This is the main key to moving abroad. Yes, it is possible to live your same life in another country, but if you don't immerse yourself into the country and the people, it won't be such a good, pleasurable experience. And also I see a lot of, let's say, expat Brits, because I'm from England, so this is mostly what I refer to, and most of those are quite lonely, where they might have bought in an area where there are lots of expats, but a lot of those have either holiday homes or live 6 months each country. So they're often left deserted, and a lot of those have moved back to England now to get the benefits from there. So what items did I bring with me? Well, I kept my pine dresser, my pine table and chairs, even though they're quite old now, but I thought these are things, at least I've got a basic kitchen diner. I kept my IKEA double bed and the IKEA wardrobes, so that gave me at least a start of a bedroom. I kept 2 mahogany bookcases because that is storage shelving sorted. I kept my desk and chair, and we kept one of my sofas that, although is quite old, it gave us something at least to sit on to start. And then Mike and I had our separate homes, as I've said, and we just put all our kitchen items together and brought the bare necessities with us, and obviously a few clothes. Oh, and of course a few mementos, but I did go right down to the bare basics of those. Maybe one day I'll show you what I kept of those. So number 5, my tip for success. Embrace the lifestyle of the country you're going to live in. If working abroad, do not rely on an expat community. As I've covered before, a lot of those businesses have now fallen by the wayside because the Brits either don't have the money now to spend or else they have gone back. So use your local community for your business success. Fully investigate all future costs and regulations, bills, these kind of things. It's all very well buying cheap in a country if the after cost is high. So for example, and these are just basic examples, I know Italy, along with some other countries, are now doing deals where you can buy property for €1. I have a friend who has actually done that, and they are telling me that now the regulations of building is a big problem in Italy, and also now the cost of living there is very expensive. Another problem like this is I'm told that in Spain permissions and paperwork are delayed by years in some cases, and then you have to, once you've got permission for something, somebody has told me that they've now been told, oh, but now you need to reapply to another department to also have it signed off. So these things are a problem there. France, for example, I have subscribers from France that tell me the food there is very high cost, and if you are going to live there and not embracing doing without certain brands and types of food, then many of the people living in France, if they want that, have to import or pay high prices for imported food shops to get those brands. So another way of succeeding is connecting with the people living in the countries you're researching. And I will help anyone looking to live in Cyprus at any point. And check that they are people living the lifestyle you want to live. So it's no good asking an expat, for example, living in the country about the country if they're not living in the rural area, say like here with the Cypriot people. It's totally different. And they, along with me, will always be happy to help you find the location best for you and answer your questions. So even here, half an hour away is a totally different lifestyle to live in right here. And the climate, we can look across our area and see the rainstorms, but it totally misses this area. So these things are important as well for location, especially if growing. How homesteading or similar lifestyles are available to all who think it's unattainable or a dream. Begin more frugal living. Can you do without all your consumer spends? Amazing how holidays were still a must during COVID, using furlough money given to people to get them by. And in case you don't know, furlough was money you could claim in England if unable to work due to COVID restrictions, and were supposed to be for food and to pay bills although most of those unable to work seem to use the money to go on holiday. When so many necessities were closed to people, holidays were still allowed. Money was given to these people and they chose to spend it on a holiday, but complained that they couldn't buy their consumer products. Therefore, one reduction of consumer spends if moving abroad for a homestead way of living would be the need for escaping on holiday for a better climate. So if you move abroad for a better climate, you don't need the expenditure of going abroad on holiday. That being said, on the Ben Frugal programme I've spoken about, Living in the Wild, or Escape to the Wild, I always forget it, people keep reminding me what it's called, but I can never remember when I say it. One whole series he did actually covered those who live with very little money, growing their own, living off-grid in many different ways in the UK. So those couple of comments I've got saying, yes, I'd love to do it, but I live in England, check out that programme, and you can also contact the programme directly and they can give you advice. So this shows you how you don't actually have to leave your own country to live that way if that's where you're located. If you want to move abroad with little money, my main tips are: many countries with small rural areas want to repopulate them or restore the houses and offer €1 properties. Just be sure to check the restrictions, as most do not let you resell for many years due to looking for people truly interested in living full-time in villages nor as a holiday home. So, back talking about selling all you can. Check you can actually live without your country's life structure. Make small changes. Why not try growing where you currently live first? And if you have no garden, either grow at a friend's place and share the produce, or grow indoors in containers. You don't need much space to grow. And I'm doing Project Morph, which is anybody who wants their YouTube channel promoted that lives a frugal, homestead life, prepping life, or just a totally different life. And I'm especially looking for people who live on boats, because I want to show with that you can still grow. Even if living on a boat, you can use the top of your boat. So if there's anyone out there particularly lives in a boat or van life or any of these kinds of different lifestyles, camping, nomads, these are people I'm also looking for to show how anything is possible, no matter how you live. When buying abroad, after much research, note that things such as views don't increase the prices of homes. In Cyprus, there are views and sea views and mountain views, literally the whole country. So here, that doesn't necessarily mean the prices increase, in as much as a lot of countries, the countryside is often cheaper, or the mountain areas are often cheaper. This is because young people want the towns and the cities. So research your countries in that respect. Also, how and where you buy from makes a huge difference in countries. If you're looking at local estate agents, they are often much cheaper than expat estate agents, especially if you're buying from, say, England. A lot of English estate agents sell abroad, but they have to pay their own commission to the countries they're selling in. So I would advise, although a lot of people want to rush to an estate agent that is from their own country, this is often the worst decision. Also, a good idea to save a lot of time and money is go around local villages and ask what is for sale. In our area, we tell people what's for sale and put them in direct contact with the owners, and then you just need your lawyer or solicitor to make everything legal, no estate agent fees. Where to buy? Never just buy where you've been on holiday and like the country. Firstly, you'll want probably different facilities or more land. Secondly, I've been to so many beautiful countries all around the world. I love them more than Cyprus, but for me they were not for full-time living for many reasons. One reason is islands with a little beach shack. Oh, it's idyllic, but is that for full-time living? You might think so, but no, not for us. So it's very important not to just be overwhelmed with beautiful countries that are out there that you think, oh, I could live here. Really think hard. So think about the day-to-day life and the day-to-day cost. Or if you do need a possible income. Just because a lot of people homestead, a lot of those people do need to make a living. So it might be selling their produce or raising animals, but some people, to be fair, to live this way may feel they need an income, particularly if they're not going to be living off grid. So look again at your country laws, if you can work, if you need visas, if you need to actually employ local people. A lot of countries allow you to open a business, but you must employ first a certain percent of local people. Do you not want to open your own business? Then what work is available and what is the income for the type of job you're able to do? If you're starting your own business, a huge mistake is do not start a business in an already crowded market. We've all seen these programs. Oh, let's open a gîte, let's open a bed and breakfast, let's go and open a bar. How many of those have closed? How many of them are there already? There's only so many people going to a bar on the seafront, and most of those go to the same bars even when a new one opens. If taking over a business, ask yourself why it's not being sold as a growing concern. So if it already was a bar or restaurant, why did they not sell it already running? This is a big red flag. If the business closed and they're just selling the property, there must have been a big problem with it in some respect, as in not running financially or no clients. So ask yourself why it's not being sold as a business already, which would have brought in far more income for the seller. Also, if you're buying a business that is already running, you have a legal right to ask for 5 years worth of accounts. If they weren't running for 5 years, there again, why are they closing so quickly? Also check about the lease. If it's a leased property, are you going to be putting a lot of money into that building to make it into something good for your business, but then the lease will go up in, say, a year, 2 years, 3 years. Do not buy a short lease. You might think, well, I can get out of it quickly if it doesn't work, but in that respect, how much income do you want to put into it then for only a year or 2 years profit? Also, many businesses such as bars and restaurants do not make money in the first year or even 2 years. So are you going to be prepared to work literally 24 hours? Because you will have to do breakfast, lunch, dinner and evening meals to make any income at all, even if it's just yourself and a partner, which means one of you will have to work behind the scenes in the kitchen or the bar and the other one front of house, all those hours. You then have to out of hours clean, do the books and so forth and make all the orders. It really is not financially profitable. You will not be able to afford staff, and I hear so many people that get cheap labour and they leave them in the lurch. It is not a good idea for a relaxing lifestyle or for profit. Anything in that type of industry does not make a big profit unless it becomes a huge franchise. I suggest you never continue your work or business in the country you are from. I'm talking about if you've already got a business in, say, England and you move abroad, do not keep that business in England. Again, it's not financially viable. You've got to have staff running it. You've got to look at going backwards and forwards when there's any problem. You are not committing to the country you're moving to, and this could pose a problem with some countries because you may have to say you have no connections financially, or taxes can be a huge problem. I also suggest you never keep your home just in case in the country you're from, nor rent it out, because this will be a financial noose around your neck and again impractical to keep going back if there's any problems. If you're really looking to move abroad and you've checked it out thoroughly, why do you need a just in case? You're better off, if you don't want to put all your eggs into one basket, buy a second property if you can afford to do that, or a second business in the country you're moving to. So keep all your properties together where you can look after them. You're also better to take a job on in your new country if you feel you need a financial crutch. Also, by taking on a job in your new country you're moving to, you actually should get some social benefits such as health insurance or other things like this. Perhaps for a little job to begin with is to look after holiday homes or tend their gardens, for example. It's also something practical towards the start of looking at your new lifestyle, so you can practice on other people's properties. And most countries do have a lot of expats that don't live there full time, and it's something you could do and they will trust you. I know a lot of these sort of holiday homes, they also have a car left there, and you can maybe even use their car, keep it running for them. So you could do this. For me, I would rather live in a tent in a rural area with beautiful views than have bought a house with little land. Stop dreaming, start living your new lifestyle. So I hope some of that has been helpful to you. I'm very willing to answer all questions, but as I've got so many subscribers and viewers now, although I do answer every question, some of your questions I'm now going to collate and actually make more videos like this, putting all the answers in one video. So therefore, when I get repetitive questions, I can then just point you in the direction of the video where I've talked on this subject. So I am looking at, in the future, doing a live Q&A. So if you're interested in that, let me know. And can you let me know what country, if you are interested in that you are from? Because I've got to try and work out the best time in the world to put that Q&A live up, because obviously we're on different time spans. I'm 2 hours ahead of England, if that's any help at all. So GMT, I'm plus 2 hours. So if you want to work it out for that, it'd be more helpful for me if you could tell me your plus GMT rather than what country you're from, but I do like to know what countries my viewers are from. And can I just say, some of you haven't subscribed. I've actually just got some analytics up, and there's a very small portion of my viewers that are actually subscribed. It costs you nothing. All you do is just press the subscribe, the big red bar, and I actually am going to be looking to doing something in the future for those that are subscribers, but it will be people who have been subscribers long term, and I do make a note of all the names of my subscribers as long as it comes up, because some of them are hidden subscribers. So if you're interested in that, then you need to subscribe now. So hit that subscribe bar, and there may be something in the future that will be of benefit, big benefit to long-term subscribers. So what subject would you like me to cover next? What would you like me to talk more on? I love doing these sort of chat ones. I do make little notes on these ones, so I make sure I say everything I wanted to say. Have I missed anything out? Yes, I will be talking about costs later on. I have briefly told you what we pay here. We just pay like a land tax, which is, I think I did say in another video, Mike deals with that, I think it's €20 a year. We pay internet, obviously, so I can do this, and that is my only connection to the outside world, because I do Zoom. And if any of you want to ever Zoom me, I'm quite happy to do that as well. So we do Zoom, so I pay for internet for that. We pay to run the car sometimes, obviously we've got to keep it taxed and insured, and petrol when we've got money, so the car, and I think that's it with our bills. That is literally all we pay. Obviously we need diesel to run our borehole. Yes, we are going to upgrade the generator to a different system, but why would we do that right now? It works fine and we don't have money to invest in anything. I thank you all for your ideas. Some of them we have thought of, some of them aren't practical with what we've got, and some of them we want to do but they will cost money to change. Such as we want to put a wind turbine in, and Mike's looking for any free salvage stuff to do that. So we are aware of other things we could do. And here I must thank all of you who have been giving me donations of either money or gifts. If you have put your donation and you ticked the anonymous box, I will not be able to thank you on camera. A couple of you I have found out who you are, because the accounts actually slipped up and your name got printed, so I did approach you and thank you personally. But let me say a huge thank you. We've got a little problem trying to get the GoFundMe money out at the moment, but we're looking at how we can access that, because I have to have passport and driving licence to get the money, and I have neither. It's again because it's English run and they only accept English documentation, so obviously I don't have that here. They will not accept any Cypriot ID or Cypriot documentation. So if you do want to give me a cash donation right now, could you please do it to my PayPal account directly? So I'll put that in the link below. If you want to send me seeds or gifts, I will put my address below. And if you can't send things, this is no problem. I would love to send and help other people, but I'm not able to do that. So what I would say is, if you do want to help but you're not able to, just leave me a lovely comment. Or I love getting letters. Just write me a letter, send me some photos, tell me about your life. I love reading about your life. New Hampshire Jack, love your comments. You tell me so much about your life. So either write to me in the comments, tell me things there, or a letter would be so appreciated. I love letters. And as I say, if you want to Zoom me, great. Or in the future when things are better, come and stay here at our Airbnb, and I would love to show you around and talk with you. And why not be on my YouTube? Yes, I have one lady, Moira. She lives in Cyprus. She is desperate to come and visit, but obviously we've got our own travel restrictions within our country at the moment. So I will see you very soon, Moira. And the rest of you out there, keep hope in your heart